you say that our experience of reality is that of a controlled hallucination. What do you mean by that?
No metaphor is perfect, but what I mean by this is that our experiences of the world, and of the self too, but let's stay with the world for now, are not direct reflections of some objective reality, like as if the world was just there and it poured itself directly into our minds through our eyes and our ears. It might seem like that. We open our eyes in the morning or after anesthesia, and it just seems as though the world is there, and it has all these properties like color and shape and size and sound. And our brains don't seem to have much to do with it, but our brains have everything to do with it. And the idea, and it's not a new idea, is that instead of our perceptual conscious experience of the world being a process of reading the world out in this kind of outside in direction, it's a process of active interpretation in which the brain is always trying to make its best guess about what's out there in the world on the basis of sensory information that comes in through the senses, but is ambiguous and noisy, and it doesn't have labels on. Like, it doesn't have a label saying I'm from a red thing or I'm from a car. It's just electrical activity, and the brain has to make sense of it. And the idea is that it does so by basically having an internal model of the most likely causes of the sensory signals that it gets. And what we experience is not a readout of the sensory signal, but the brain's predictions about what causes those signals. And this is a pretty big flip in how we relate to our experiences, because even though it seems they come from the outside in, they're actually, I think, coming from the inside out. And the sensory signals are there to keep our brain's predictions, our brain's best guesses, tied to reality in ways that are useful for our behavior as a complex organism. That's where the metaphor of controlled hallucination comes from. Hallucination because experiences are internally generated. And when we think about hallucinations in everyday language, we typically think about something that's generated internally rather than something that's registering the outside world. But critically, the control is just as important. In normal everyday perception, our perceptual experiences don't just wander off into whatever they might be. They're very carefully regulated, controlled by the world and the body. And that's why perception, of course, works. That's why evolution has developed it that way, so that it's useful for us.